The three parallel lives. Have you ever felt that even though your days are filled with busyness, there's still a gentle emptiness within you? We spend so much of our time caring for our outer life, our work, our home, our relationships. Yet there's a far more essential part, the inner world, the one that determines the quality of each day we live. And it is often forgotten. That is exactly why Zoe made this video, to help you discover the three parallel lives that exist within you: the physical life, the mental life, and the spiritual life. When we come to understand the harmony among three lives, we begin to find the peace and wholeness that have always been within us. First, let's take a look back at the foundation of all existence. The structure of an existence consists of three circles. The outermost circle is the body, composed of cells, organs, and the nervous system. The second circle is the psyche, the inner world where thoughts, emotions, memories, inner voices, and ideas reside. And the deepest layer, at the very center of all, is the source, the true being, the pure awareness that transcends all limits of body and mind. In the video, What Really Happens When Death Occurs, Zoe has shared this structure in detail. If you haven't seen it yet, you might want to revisit that video to understand more deeply. Corresponding to these three layers of existence are the three parallel lives of a human being. First is the spiritual life, corresponding to circle number 1, the source. The source, also called the absolute, is what lies deepest within the essence of all beings. From the source arises every form. The absolute is compared to the center of all existence. This is the deepest layer, where the mind dissolves into stillness. When the mind dissolves, only the pure ground of knowing remains, the empty knowing. That knowing is your very being, the empty presence that knows itself. This life is nourished through meditation, inner observation, prayer, and so on. When the spiritual life is nourished, the human being with a mind full of restlessness moves toward the state where the mind reaches stillness, peace, and absolute bliss. At that time, the primordial energy from the source spreads throughout the entire psyche. At that moment, you will begin to feel the presence of the profound wisdom within. When the spiritual life is nourished, it will water and bathe the mental thought life with pure energy. Next is the mental life, corresponding to circle number 2, psyche. This is where we human beings interact with others and with the world around us, through emotions, thoughts, reasoning, beliefs, and so on. Our inner world operates in one of two states, either duality or non-duality, and the state of psyche completely determines how we experience life. First, let us explore the state of duality, the polarized mind. When psyche still contains residual energy, the human being operates within duality, always being pulled between two opposing poles, between good and bad, between right and wrong, between gain and loss, between love and hate, between hope and fear. Whether the energy is positive or negative, both still belong to duality. And when we live within duality, we are constantly in a state of fluctuation, tension, and craving, because the mind never feels complete. When the mind is still filled with accumulated residual energy over time, it becomes like a monkey, endlessly jumping from one thought to another, never willing to stay still. Most people do not even realize this. They don't know what their mind is thinking because awareness has been swept away by the endless stream of wandering thoughts and mental noise. At such times, we are easily pulled into negative emotions, anxiety, fear, anger, jealousy, or resentment. Those vibrations are like clouds of ignorance that cover the psyche, preventing us from seeing the true nature of reality. Everything becomes distorted, deviated from what truly is. For example, imagine you are working in an office. A colleague walks past you without saying hello. Immediately, a series of thoughts arise in your mind. Is she angry with me? Did I do something wrong? Or is she looking down on me? Within seconds, those thoughts trigger uncomfortable feelings, irritation, frustration, which gradually turn into resentment or hurt. In reality, that colleague might simply be lost in her own thoughts and had no intention at all. But because within you still exists the energy of insecurity and the fear of being judged, the mind reacts unconsciously, causing the situation to be perceived in a distorted way. When the mind is covered by residual energies, reality is distorted, and you can no longer see the objective truth. Second is the state of non-duality. When the mind becomes quiet, when the residual energies are gradually transformed through the process of inner purification, your mind returns to a state of peace and stillness. From that space, gentle emotions such as gratitude, love, compassion, and serenity begin to blossom. That is the moment when the mental life is nourished, when you no longer live and react unconsciously to the world. Begin to live in awareness, living from the inside out. Within that space, the inner wisdom naturally reveals itself. A knowing that does not come from reasoning, that needs no explanation. You suddenly realize, I simply understand something. I just know, without knowing why I know. In Buddhism, this state is called prajna, the wisdom that transcends all dualities, seeing clearly the true nature of all phenomena. In Islam, this is marifa, the direct knowing of God, without the mediation of intellect or doctrine. In Judaism, the sages call it da'at elyon, the supreme knowing, the union between human consciousness and the will of the Creator. In Christianity, this is the illumination of the Holy Spirit, when the heart opens to recognize the presence of God in every breath, in every moment. And in Hinduism, it is called jnana, the wisdom of the Atman, the realization that one's true essence is Brahman, the absolute reality. Though described in different languages, they all point to the same reality, the state in which the personal self dissolves and only pure knowing remains, the clear, luminous awareness, where the human and the supreme source are no longer two, but one. From this pure state, the energies of non-duality naturally radiate. The energy of gratitude. When you feel grateful for no reason, you are simply grateful because life is here. The energy of faith. Within you, there is an absolute trust in the source, in the invisible intelligence moving through all things. The energy of love, the love within you, gradually becomes unconditional. You embrace all people and all circumstances, exactly as they are. In non-duality, human beings live in a state of bliss, happiness, relaxation, and absolute peace. Every action, every word, every thought becomes sincere and effortless, because they are no longer driven by the ego or by fear, but arise directly from the pure heart. The expression of two states of mind in daily life. Two people may do the same thing, travel together, read a book, work, cook, and yet their inner worlds are completely different. The difference does not lie in the circumstance, but in the state of psyche. When the mind still holds residual energy, one lives in duality. Even while the body is engaged in an action, the mind is somewhere else. While traveling, they are still thinking about work, comparing one place with another, worrying about what others might think. While reading, their eyes move along the lines, but their mind wanders elsewhere. A few minutes later, they forget what they have just read. While working, their mind is filled with thoughts. Fear of being wrong, fear of losing, longing for recognition. While cooking, their hands stir the food, yet their mind drifts into unfinished stories. Though the body is here, the mind is absent. In contrast, when the psyche is purified and becomes clear, one returns to oneness, a state of pure presence. They are no longer pulled by endless streams of thought. While traveling, they seek nothing special. They simply watch the sky, listen to the wind, and feel the breath. While reading, they perceive the deeper truth hidden behind each line, not through logic, but through intuition. While working, they are wholly attentive. Every action is clear, light, and filled with joy. There is no longer separation between the doer and the deed. Everything becomes one. In a dualistic mind, energy is scattered. People become distracted, tense, and tired because the mind keeps swinging between wanting and not wanting. But in a unified mind, energy gathers. One feels focused, serene, and fully enjoys each moment of life. And finally, the physical life, corresponding to circle number 3, body. If the spiritual life is the root and the mental life is the trunk, then the physical life is the fruit, the expression that appears outwardly. It includes everything we can perceive, such as the body, work, finances, relationships, and living environment. The important thing to understand is that the physical life is not separate, but is the honest mirror reflecting the inner state of our being. When living in duality, the physical life becomes a burden. When the inner energy is still in a dualistic state, when within you there are anxieties, fears, and feelings of lack, the physical life will reflect precisely those vibrations. Work becomes a means of survival full of pressure. We work because we fear not having enough money, or to prove our self-worth. Outer success brings no lasting joy, only temporary release. Relationships are filled with calculations and expectations. We come to each other out of the need for safety, out of fear of loneliness, or to exchange benefits. Every small conflict can easily turn into a crisis. The body is always in a state of tension. Energy becomes blocked, leading to fatigue, sleeplessness, and illness. You feel your body like an old machine that has to be driven by willpower. Money becomes the source of anxiety. You are always either chasing money or afraid of running out of it. True abundance can never emerge from this energy of lack. In this state, you may achieve many things, but still feel empty, as if you are running endlessly on a wheel that never stops. Living from non-duality, the physical life, becomes the expression of the soul. When you live from the state of non-duality with a pure and peaceful consciousness, work becomes creativity and contribution. You work with the pure joy of expressing your talents and adding value. Success comes naturally as an inevitable consequence. Relationships become genuine connections. You see others as different versions of yourself. And from that, empathy, compassion, and unconditional love flows naturally. The body becomes light and full of vitality. Life energy flows freely. You feel health, flexibility, and gratitude in every cell of your body. Money becomes a flow of exchange and value enhancement. You attract prosperity naturally because you live and work from a state of abundance, not from lack. Transformation, from doing to being. The core difference lies here. Living in duality, you strive to do in order to have something, hoping that when you have enough, then you will be a happy person. Living in non-duality, you begin by being a peaceful and complete human being in this very moment. From this state of being, you naturally do meaningful things. And then you have naturally everything that aligns with you. And the harmony of the three lives. Once the physical life is separated from the spiritual life, it is like a car running endlessly without ever stopping for fuel, ultimately leaving only exhaustion. Work becomes a burden. Relationships become pressure. The body becomes a tool forced to operate. This fatigue is not only physical, but also the fatigue of the soul, when one forgets the connection to the deepest part of oneself. Many people feel fear when thinking about spiritual practice or cultivation, because they mistakenly believe that spiritual practice means having to abandon the world, give up family, career, or personal passions. But in reality, spiritual practice is not about leaving. It is about cleansing the residual energies within the mind, allowing us to act with awareness in this very life. Spiritual practice is not escaping the world, but seeing the world with clearer eyes. Due to this misunderstanding, many focus only on work and accumulating wealth, believing that happiness will naturally come afterward. When physical life occupies all attention, the other two lives, mental and spiritual, gradually become forgotten. And then, the mind becomes noisy, emotions swing uncontrollably, and the person loses the ability to connect with the source within. In fact, the process of the 3 lives needs to be reversed. Instead of starting from the physical life, we need to begin from the spiritual life. Only by returning to the source within can a person truly understand who they really are and why they are present in this lifetime. When this process is reversed from inside out rather than from outside in, every aspect of life begins to harmonize naturally. The spiritual nourishes the mental through primordial energy. The mental shapes the physical through the functions of the mind, and the physical becomes the mirror reflecting the spiritual. This is the wholeness of the complete human being, living without separation between the inner and the outer. Because when you live from that center of stillness, you no longer need to strive to become anything. You simply are. And from that very being, fulfillment radiates into every aspect of life. Therefore, to truly attract what you desire, you do not need to start by doing outwardly, but by becoming inwardly. When you return to the source, you will realize that there is no need to attract anything, because everything you have been seeking has always already been within you. And this journey, the journey of cleansing the stagnant energies within your psyche, of elevating your inner vibration, so that your psyche becomes truly peaceful, still, and luminous, I will walk beside you, step by step, to help you truly transform your psyche and begin the practice. I have created the 26-day journey of healing inner wounds and awakening the infinite potential within. Each day, you will receive an email containing both a lesson and a specific practice. Theories can be found everywhere, but what we often lack are the actual methods to transform the psyche. Because only when you practice sincerely, with the right methods, can real transformation happen within. I sincerely look forward to meeting you on this deep and meaningful journey of healing.